Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you decided to spend this time focused on your healing today, because what we're talking about is perhaps the most painful part of the entire narcissistic abuse cycle: the rapid acquisition of new supply. It makes you feel utterly disposable, doesn't it? Like the entire relationship was just a brief inconvenience they needed to sweep under the rug before moving on to the main event. But before we get into the why, we need to understand what supply actually is in this context, because it's not just attention, it's their lifeblood. Why narcissists chase new supply, and what it really means. Narcissistic supply is essentially the external validation and emotional energy that the narcissist needs to regulate their non-existent self-esteem. They are emotionally empty on the inside, like a leaky bucket, and they require a constant stream of adoration, fear, drama, or even pity to feel real. When the old source, that's you, starts to run dry, perhaps because you began setting boundaries or calling them out, panic sets in immediately. This panic is the first major driver of the instant switch. If a non-narcissistic person goes through a breakup, they generally take time to process grief, mourn the loss, and sit in the discomfort of being alone. A narcissist simply cannot afford this luxury. Being alone means confronting the black void inside themselves, the true reality of who they are, which is a terrifying thought they avoid at all costs. So, when the discard happens, whether you left them or they initiated the move, the primary motivation for seeking new supply isn't to find love or a lasting partner. It's a desperate act of self-preservation. It's like an emotional emergency, a code-red situation where they are bleeding out internally and need the fastest possible transfusion of validation they can find just to stay functional. The speed is misleading too. Sometimes, we see them with the new person seemingly days later, and we assume they must have been cheating on us for months. While that is often true, narcissists almost always secure a backup long before the discard. The sheer rapidity of the public display is calculated to achieve two things. First, to secure the new source before they can run, and second, to hurt you. The quick replacement is part of the final devaluation strategy. By instantly showcasing this shiny, brand new person, they are sending a loud, cruel message back to you. You were nothing, you were easy to replace, and I have already moved on to something better. It's designed to trigger extreme pain, jealousy, and confusion, which ironically gives them a final burst of negative supply from your reaction. Now, let's talk about the quality of the new supply. Spoiler alert, quality doesn't matter to the narcissist in the beginning. What matters is the novelty and the availability. New supply represents a temporary reset button, a fresh canvas where they can once again project their idealized self, the charming, perfect persona they used to hook you in the very beginning. Remember the love bombing phase you experienced? The intense adoration, the mirroring, the feeling that you had finally met your soulmate. The new supply is experiencing that exact same performance right now. They are seeing the mask, the polished facade, and the narcissist is basking in the glory of the new victim's unquestioning admiration. This cycle of idealization and devaluation is crucial because the narcissist gets bored when things become predictable. Once you got past the love bombing and started seeing the cracks, once you expected consistency, honesty, and emotional reciprocity, your supply value decreased. Why? Because you were now asking them to give, and they are hardwired only to take. The new supply is perfect because they haven't asked for anything yet. They are still naive, still impressed, and still fully believing the highly curated story the narcissist is selling. This effortless admiration is high-quality supply, pure and uncut, and it feels intoxicating to the narcissist, who is constantly running from their own inadequacy. But what about the logistics of this instant swap? You might be wondering, how do they find someone so quickly? The answer is that the narcissist often maintains what we call the supply bench. These are people they keep in rotation, old exes, potential romantic interests, or even just persistent admirers, whom they contact just enough to keep them warm and ready. When the main supply, you, is identified for discard, They simply text or call the most promising candidate on the bench. The new supply is often already trauma-bonded or highly empathetic, making them easy to manipulate into rapid involvement because they are flattered that the narcissist suddenly showed interest. It's important for your healing to internalize this. The speed of the replacement is a direct measure of the narcissist's internal desperation, not a measure of your worth. A normal, emotionally mature person needs time to recover, but the narcissist is running a continuous emotional marathon, unable to slow down. If they stopped, they would cease to exist, emotionally speaking. The new supply is merely the fuel they need to keep the illusion going. Think of them as a human battery, plugged in solely to prevent the narcissist's emotional shutdown. That is a heavy burden, and it's why the new relationship is doomed from the start. The immediate replacement also serves to completely avoid accountability. By jumping ship so quickly, they avoid facing the wreckage they left behind. If they stop to consider your pain or the damage they caused, they would have to acknowledge their toxicity, which is fundamentally incompatible with their self-perception as a perfect being. They are performing emotional avoidance on an Olympic level. The new person is essentially a distraction, a loud, flashy shield that keeps the narcissist's own painful truths at bay. While the new supply might feel special, they are fundamentally being used as a temporary emotional painkiller. And this is where the cycle becomes predictable. The new relationship is a copy-paste of yours. The intensity, the promises, the future faking, it's all happening again. The narcissist has no capacity for genuine connection, so they simply reuse the same scripts and emotional manipulation tactics on the next target. This realization should bring you immense power. What you are witnessing unfold with the new supply is simply Act 2 of a very poorly written, repetitive play. The beginning is the idealization, but the plot progression demands that devaluation and discard will follow, just as they did for you. You might feel compelled to warn the new person, to reach out and tell them the truth, but please resist that urge. Firstly, it usually backfires, painting you as the crazy ex, which the narcissist has already primed them to believe. Secondly, that is their journey, and your focus must remain solely on your own healing and safety. The narcissist ensures they replace you quickly because they fear the gap. If there's a gap between supply sources, others might start asking questions. They need to maintain the appearance of normalcy, desirability, and stability, even though their internal life is anything but stable. The new relationship is therefore a key piece of reputation management. Look how quickly I found happiness, they are communicating to the outside world. I must be a great catch, and the old partner must have been the problem. It's all about controlling the narrative and protecting their false image. If you are feeling agonizing pain because they replaced you so fast, please remember that your feelings are valid, but the story you are telling yourself about why they did it is likely wrong. This replacement isn't proof that you weren't good enough. It's proof that the narcissist is profoundly, desperately broken. The narcissist cannot handle reality, so they must manufacture a new one instantly. They are addicted to the validation that only a fresh, unsuspecting source can provide. But that validation is fleeting. That new relationship has an expiration date stamped on it, guaranteed. Think about the new supply now. They are entering a relationship built on a complete lie. They are about to experience intense manipulation, emotional erosion, and eventual devaluation. They are about to lose themselves entirely in service of someone who cannot love them back. You, however, are now free. You are experiencing the pain of separation, yes, but you are also gaining your freedom and your authenticity back. The narcissist is trapped in the cycle, forced to repeat their performance eternally, always needing more, always running faster. The new supply is a sign of their illness, not a sign of your failure. They didn't replace you. They replaced the function you served. And that function was exhausting, emotionally draining, and fundamentally unnatural for you to sustain. Take this powerful realization and use it to fuel your no-contact efforts. When you see them with the new person, try to shift your perspective from jealousy or pain to profound pity for the person who has just unknowingly signed up for years of psychological turmoil. The moment they found new supply is the moment your healing truly begins. Because now you have definitive proof that this person is incapable of independent emotional life. They showed their true hand. They are a machine that needs fuel, and you are no longer fueling it. So, what is the core takeaway here? The speed and the cruelty of the replacement are the clearest signs that you dodged a lifetime of misery. The narcissist jumped so fast because they had to. They couldn't survive the silence. You can. You are strong enough to sit in the discomfort of reality and heal. They are not. That is your superpower now. Understand that they are simply running away from themselves, and that runner is always going to crash eventually. Focus on the glorious, peaceful life you are building now. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope this gave you the clarity and the emotional distance you needed to process this truly awful phase. Please remember to hit that like button if this video resonated with you. Drop a comment below sharing your experiences or questions about the discard phase. We support each other here. And definitely subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming healing resources. I'll see all of you in the next video.